If someone told me a year ago that I'd be writing this, I would have laughed in their face. I was the guy who had the perfect marriage. Or at least I thought I was. We met 10 years ago at a mutual friend's wedding. Her name is Lauren, beautiful, charismatic, and had this magnetic energy that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. I fell hard. We got married 3 years later, bought a house in the suburbs, got a dog named Max, and talked about kids one day soon. Everything seemed solid. We had our routines, our Friday night takeout and movie nights, lazy Sunday mornings, inside jokes, and shared Spotify playlists. We even made it through the pandemic relatively unscathed, which felt like a win compared to the chaos happening around us. But over the past 6 months, things started to shift. At first, it was small. She was more distant, less interested in physical intimacy. I chalked it up to stress. Her job as a marketing director had been demanding, and I figured she was just tired. But then came the nights she stayed out later with coworkers, the texts she'd quickly hide, the new phone password she never had before. When I asked, she brushed me off with a sarcastic, "God, can't I have any privacy?" That was so unlike her. Lauren used to be an open book. Suddenly she was locked tight, and I didn't have the key. My gut told me something was off, but I didn't want to seem paranoid. I mean, this was my wife. My best friend. I trusted her. But I wish I had listened to that little voice inside me. Because what came next shattered everything I believed about love, trust, and the person I thought I married. A few weeks after Lauren started acting distant, I was sitting on the couch watching Netflix when her phone buzzed on the coffee table. Normally, she kept it on silent, and it was usually glued to her side. But that night, she'd left it behind while taking a shower. I wouldn't call myself the snooping type, I actually hate the idea of going through someone's phone. But that buzz. Something about it hit me in the gut. The name on the screen was just an emoji. A fire emoji. Not Tom or Jen from work. Just, fire emoji. I froze. Who the hell saves someone as an emoji? My brain started going into overdrive. She'd never done that before. I stared at the phone, the screen dimming back to black, like it was mocking me. My heart pounded in my chest. After a few seconds, I picked it up. Locked, of course. She'd changed her password recently, said it was for security reasons. I didn't argue then, but now it felt suspicious as hell. When she came out of the shower, she saw me holding it. Her face went cold. "What are you doing?" she snapped, snatching it from my hands like I was some stranger on the street. "You got a text. From someone saved as a fire emoji?" I said, trying to stay calm. Her eyes flickered, just for a second, and then she laughed, like I was the paranoid one. "Oh my God, seriously? That's Rachel. We all gave each other dumb nicknames in our group chat. It's not a big deal." Her tone was so confident, so dismissive, that I almost believed her. Almost. But I couldn't shake the way she overreacted, the tension in her shoulders, the way she clutched that phone like it held state secrets. That night, she turned away from me in bed. Max, our dog, jumped up and curled into my chest instead. Something was wrong. And I knew now, I had to find out what. About a week after the fire emoji text incident, Lauren told me she had to go on a business trip. Just a quick overnight, her company was hosting a regional marketing summit in a city 2 hours away. Nothing unusual. She'd done trips like that before. But this time, it felt staged. Too rehearsed. She packed in a rush, barely letting me help. When I offered to drive her to the hotel, like I'd done in the past, she said her coworker Jenna was picking her up. I'd met Jenna once. Super quiet, introverted. Definitely not the type to drive Lauren 2 hours to a conference and share a hotel room. But again, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to seem controlling. That's what she'd accuse me of if I asked too many questions. Before she left, she gave me this weird, lingering hug. Not affectionate, more like guilty. Like a goodbye. That night, I couldn't sleep. Max paced the hallway, like he sensed something too. I grabbed my laptop and started Googling the conference. And here's where it gets weird, there was no conference. At least, not on that date. Not in that city. Her company's website had the event listed, but it was scheduled for 2 weeks later. I double-checked. Triple-checked. My chest got tight. I texted her, trying to stay casual. "Hey, how's the summit? What hotel are you guys at?" No reply. An hour passed. Then 2. Midnight hit, still nothing. Around 1:30 a.m., I finally got a text. Just one line. Sorry, crazy long day. Going to crash. Talk tomorrow, red heart emoji. The red heart emoji felt like a cover-up. She hadn't used that in texts for weeks. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there, staring at the phone, Max's head in my lap, wondering if my entire marriage was a lie. I didn't want to go full FBI husband, but at that point, I couldn't take the lies anymore. The fake conference, the weird text replies, the fire emoji contact, it was adding up to something bad. Real bad. So I did something I never thought I'd do, I opened our shared iCloud account. Lauren had no idea I still had access. We'd set it up years ago to sync calendars and photos. She probably forgot it existed. I remembered that Find My could show the location of all devices linked to the account. I clicked on her iPhone. She wasn't in the city she said the conference was in. She wasn't even close. She was at a boutique hotel 45 minutes away from our house. Not downtown. Not even in a business district. This was the kind of place people go to for weekend escapes. The kind with mood lighting, spa packages, and rooms that charge by the hour. I sat there for a good 5 minutes, staring at the screen. My ears were ringing. My palms were sweating. Max started whining because I was gripping his fur so tight. I wanted to believe there was an explanation. Maybe her company changed hotels last minute. Maybe she got the dates mixed up. Maybe. But then I saw it. A new photo in the iCloud gallery. She must have forgotten that the photo sync was still on. It was her. In a hotel room mirror. In lingerie I'd never seen before. She was taking a selfie. And in the reflection behind her, there was a man's jacket tossed over the chair. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Everything inside me just collapsed. It was real. This wasn't paranoia. This wasn't insecurity. My wife was cheating on me. And I had proof. I barely remember the drive. I grabbed my keys, threw on a hoodie, and left Max whining by the door. My mind was buzzing like static. Every traffic light, every turn, it was like I was outside of my body, just watching this nightmare unfold in slow motion. The boutique hotel sat quietly off a wooded road. Fancy. Remote. The kind of place people go when they don't want to be seen. My heart thudded as I pulled into the lot. Her car was there. Parked right up front. Still, I wasn't thinking clearly. I didn't have a plan. No camera, no dramatic entrance, no gotcha moment. Just pain. Just raw, unfiltered pain and the need to know. I walked inside. The lobby was empty except for a sleepy-eyed front desk girl. I could have lied, made up some excuse, but I didn't have it in me. I just said, "My wife is staying here. Lauren Bennett. Can you tell me her room number?" She blinked, hesitated, then said, "I'm sorry, sir. We can't give out guest information." Of course not. I stepped back outside, about to call it quits, until I saw them. Lauren and a man. Exiting the elevator at the far end of the lobby. She was laughing. His hand was on the small of her back. They were comfortable. Too comfortable. She was wearing the same dress she left the house in, except now it was slightly wrinkled and her hair was messed up. She froze when she saw me. Like a deer in headlights. He looked confused. "Dan?" she stammered. My voice cracked. "Who the hell is this?" The guy raised his hands, completely thrown off. "Whoa, man. You told me you were out of town. You lied. Again." Lauren went defensive fast. "Why are you following me? This is insane." I laughed, cold, bitter. "You're calling me insane? You're here with some guy when you said you were at a conference." She turned to him. "Go. Just go. I'll handle this." He shrugged and walked out, not even looking at me. Coward. Then Lauren turned back to me, arms crossed. Her expression wasn't guilty. It was annoyed. "You're being dramatic. It's not what it looks like." And that was the moment I realized, she wasn't sorry. Not even a little. We stood outside that hotel, just the two of us. The cool night air buzzed with tension. Lauren looked pissed, like I was the one who cheated. Like I had somehow ruined her night. The entitlement in her face made my blood boil. "Start talking," I said, trying hard to keep my voice from cracking. "Who was that?" She rolled her eyes. Rolled. Her eyes. "His name's Eric. He's just a friend." "God, Dan, do you always assume the worst?" I let out this short, bitter laugh. "Just a friend? You wore lingerie for your friend? In a hotel? While lying to me about being at a business conference?" Silence. She glanced away. That was the first time I saw it, guilt. But it lasted maybe 2 seconds before the mask slipped back on. "I didn't think you'd handle it well, okay? Things between us haven't exactly been amazing lately. You're always working, always tired. You don't even look at me the way you used to. I needed to feel something again." That hit harder than a slap. "So you cheated? That's your solution?" She shrugged. "I didn't plan for this to happen. It just did." She said it like she tripped over a rock. Like she accidentally fell into another man's bed. "What about us?" I asked. "What about me?" Her voice dropped, sharp. "Dan, stop acting like you're some innocent victim. You stopped making me feel wanted years ago. I've been carrying this marriage on my back." That was the moment I knew, we weren't salvaging this. She was rewriting the narrative. Gaslighting me. Spinning it like I pushed her into cheating. I'd come there thinking maybe, just maybe, she'd cry. Apologize. Regret it. But there was no regret. Just resentment. Lauren didn't feel bad for cheating. She felt bad for getting caught. After that brutal scene outside the hotel, I drove home in silence. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just existed. Max greeted me at the door, wagging his tail like nothing had changed. In a weird way, that was the only comfort I had left. Lauren didn't come home that night. I sat in our bedroom, staring at the spot where she usually slept, wondering how long she'd been gone emotionally, how many nights she had already spent away from me in every way that mattered. I felt numb. And then numb turned into obsession. I needed to know more. So I went back into the iCloud. Photos. Messages. Calendar entries. She must have thought I'd never check, but everything synced. And what I found made my stomach turn. There were pictures. Not a lot, but enough to paint the truth. Lauren and Eric at a winery. Lauren and Eric at a rooftop bar. Lauren taking a mirror selfie with a necklace I didn't recognize, one she never wore around me. Timestamps. Dates. One of them matched the weekend she told me she was visiting her sister. That was 4 months ago. I dug deeper. Messages from her iPad were synced, too. That's when it got even worse. She and Eric had been texting for at least 7 months. I scrolled through conversations where she told him things like, "He barely touches me anymore. I feel so alive with you. If I had met you first." That last one shattered me. I realized I'd been living in a house with a ghost. She hadn't just slipped, she had built a second life behind my back. Date nights with Eric. Excuses crafted to perfection. A version of herself that existed only for him. And the worst part? She was good at it. Too good. I wasn't just betrayed. I was replaced. And I never saw it coming. She walked through the door around noon the next day, sunglasses on, coffee in hand like she'd just come back from a casual brunch. No shame. No guilt. Just her usual fake calm. I was sitting at the kitchen table, laptop open, phone beside me. I had screenshots. Photos. Messages. All of it. I was ready. She took off her sunglasses slowly and said, "Can we talk?" I didn't even look at her. Sure. Talk. She sat across from me, letting out this dramatic sigh, like she was the one exhausted by all this. "Look, I didn't mean for this to spiral. I didn't want to hurt you." I laughed. Cold and flat. "You've been sleeping with another man for almost a year. That's not a spiral, Lauren. That's a double life." She didn't deny it. Instead, she launched into this soapbox monologue about how unhappy she's been. How I worked too much. How we stopped connecting. How she tried to talk to me but I never listened. I cut her off. "So your solution was to lie? To cheat? To take lingerie selfies in hotel rooms and tell me you were at conferences?" Her face twisted. "I didn't plan it like that. Eric and I just clicked. He listens. He sees me." That last line nearly made me snap. "I saw you, Lauren. I saw all of you. I gave you my time, my trust, my life. And you threw it away for some fantasy you cooked up with a guy who probably tells the same lies to his wife." Boom. Her face changed. Yup, Eric was married too. I'd found that out from the texts. She wasn't just cheating. She was helping someone else cheat, too. "You really thought I wouldn't find out?" I asked. She didn't answer. She just sat there, cornered, exposed. And I could see it, she wasn't sorry. She was just mad that I figured it out. That was the moment I decided I was done. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I stood up, looked her in the eyes, and said, "You need to leave. You need to leave." I said it calmly. Firmly. But Lauren just laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, come on, Dan. Don't be dramatic. This is our house." Her voice had that smug, patronizing tone that made my skin crawl. She leaned back in the chair like she was calling my bluff. Like I didn't have the guts to follow through. But I wasn't bluffing. I was done. "Pack a bag. Stay with your sister. Or your friend Eric. I don't care. You're not staying here." She stood up and slammed her coffee on the table. "You don't get to kick me out of my home just because you've decided to have a meltdown." A meltdown. That's what she called it. I pointed to the laptop, where the photos and messages were still open on the screen. "This isn't a meltdown, Lauren. It's reality. You cheated. You lied. Repeatedly. And I don't want to look at you, let alone sleep next to you." She started pacing, her arms crossed tight like she was holding herself together. "So what, you're just ending 10 years like that? No counseling? No talking it out?" I stared at her, stunned. "You want counseling now? After sneaking around for nearly a year?" And then she said something I'll never forget. "People make mistakes, Dan. At least I didn't divorce you the moment things got hard." That line. That one burned. I walked past her, opened the hall closet, grabbed her overnight bag, and tossed it on the couch. "You've got 15 minutes. She stood frozen, like she couldn't believe I was actually doing it. Then she launched into full-blown victim mode. "This is so typical. You just want everyone to think you're the saint and I'm the villain. You're not perfect either, Dan. You're emotionally unavailable. You never see me." I cut her off. "You were right. I didn't see you. Not the real you. But now I do." 15 minutes later, she was gone. She slammed the door so hard the frame shook. And for the first time in months, the house was quiet. Too quiet. After she slammed the door and sped off, I just stood there, numb. The house felt unfamiliar. Like someone had turned the oxygen off and left me floating in space. I didn't move for a while. Max nudged my leg, sensing something was wrong, like he always did. I gave him a weak pat and finally sat down, thinking maybe I could finally start to breathe again. Then I noticed the bag. The overnight bag I'd tossed onto the couch. She never took it. It was still sitting there, half-zipped. I don't know why I opened it. Curiosity? Spite? Maybe I just wanted to hurt the part of me that still cared. Inside were the usual things: makeup, a charger, a sweater. But then, tucked in a side pocket, I saw a small black leather notebook. I didn't recognize it. Lauren never kept handwritten anything. She lived on her phone. I opened it. It wasn't a journal exactly. More like notes. Pages of messy, fast handwriting. I read the first line. "When he finds out, I'll say it was emotional at first." My blood ran cold. The next few pages were like a script. Use the "we were disconnected" angle. Blame stress, work, lack of intimacy. Don't admit it started last summer, too long. Say 3 months, max. It was a damn cheat sheet for getting away with cheating. Every lie she told me, rehearsed. Prepped. Written down. She didn't just lie. She planned the lies. Like a speech. Like a performance. Like manipulation. My hands were shaking by the time I got to the last page. There was one line, underlined twice. "He's too passive to leave me." That did it. That snapped whatever thread of hope was left. She never thought I'd walk away. She thought I'd take it. Forgive. Move on. Pretend. She didn't know me at all. I didn't want to tell anyone. Not at first. There's something humiliating about admitting your marriage is falling apart, especially because of betrayal. But after the notebook, after everything, I was drowning. I needed someone. So I called my best friend, Mike. We'd been tight since college, he knew me better than anyone. I told him everything. Every detail. The lies, the hotel, the texts, the notebook. He was silent for a minute, which made me nervous. Then he said something I wasn't expecting. "Dude. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm really sorry. But you have to get out. Like, now. This isn't about saving the marriage anymore. It's about your sanity." He didn't sugarcoat it. No maybe give her a chance talk. Just straight up honesty. That hit me hard. Because somewhere deep down, a part of me wanted to fight for us. To fix it. But Mike's words cracked that illusion wide open. You deserve better, he said. Not someone who plans lies and manipulates you like that. Not someone who treats you like a backup option. For the first time in months, I felt clarity. I wasn't imagining things. I wasn't overreacting. I wasn't the problem. Lauren was. After that call, I felt something shift inside me. The anger was still there, but so was a new kind of strength. Maybe I could walk away. The next few days were a blur. I went to work, came home, sat on the couch staring at the empty side of the bed Lauren used to occupy. Max kept me company, but even he seemed to sense that nothing was the same anymore. I wrestled with my thoughts constantly. I'd loved Lauren deeply, or at least the idea of her. I'd imagined growing old together, building a family, making memories. But now all I saw was the cracks beneath the surface, the lies, the betrayal, the cold indifference when I confronted her. I tried to picture what my life would look like if I stayed. Therapy sessions, endless arguments, the shadow of Eric hanging over every conversation. Could I ever trust her again? Could she even trust herself? The answer was no. One sleepless night, after hours of pacing and drinking black coffee, I made the decision. I was done. Not just with the cheating or the lies, but with the marriage itself. I owed it to myself, and to Max, to find peace. I called Lauren, told her calmly that I was filing for separation. Her reaction was a mix of anger and disbelief. "You're throwing away everything because of one mistake," she spat. "We can fix this." I shook my head. "It's not one mistake. It's years of betrayal. And I'm tired." It was the most grown-up, hardest thing I'd ever done. But also the most freeing. For the first time in a long time, I felt hope flicker inside me, a chance to rebuild, to heal, and to rediscover who I was outside of us. The first few weeks after deciding to separate were brutal. I never knew loneliness could feel so loud. Waking up without her there, the empty side of the bed staring back at me, made my chest tighten every morning. Max was my only real company, and even he seemed to miss the warmth that had disappeared from the house. Guilt crept in, too. Not because I'd done anything wrong, but because I kept wondering if there was something I could have done differently. Was I too focused on work? Too tired to notice the cracks? Could I have saved us if I'd only tried harder? At night, those questions circled like vultures. I found myself replaying conversations, searching for signs, blaming myself for what I couldn't control. But slowly, I realized that love isn't supposed to feel like this, full of secrets, lies, and cold shoulders. I started therapy. It was hard to admit I needed help, but talking to someone who listened without judgment helped me untangle the mess inside my head. I learned that healing isn't linear. Some days felt like progress, others like falling back into a pit. Friends checked in, but I kept most people at arm's length. This was my battle to fight, my wound to heal. And though the pain was raw, it reminded me I was still alive. That I still cared about me. Lauren? She reached out a few times. Mostly to argue, to gaslight, to drag me back into her storm. But I held my ground. This was my time to find peace, even if it felt impossible. Some days, I felt like I'd never stop hurting. Like the weight of betrayal would crush me completely. But little by little, I started noticing something else, strength. Not the flashy, heroic kind, but quiet, stubborn resilience. I found comfort in small things, morning coffee with Max at my feet, a run around the park to clear my head, listening to music that spoke to my broken heart. I even picked up old hobbies I'd neglected, like reading and cooking. It wasn't about distracting myself, it was reclaiming parts of me that got lost along the way. Therapy helped me understand my worth wasn't tied to someone else's actions. I learned to forgive myself for not seeing the signs sooner and, more importantly, to set boundaries. Lauren's texts and calls became fewer and less urgent in my mind. I started to imagine a future without her, not perfect, but honest. A future where I wasn't haunted by lies or shattered trust. That hope became a light in the darkness. I'm still healing, still learning how to love myself again. But I'm getting there, one day at a time. After all the heartbreak, the late-night tears, and the anger that felt like it might consume me, I'm finally ready to share what I've learned. Maybe it'll help someone out there who's walking through the same fire. First, trust your instincts. If something feels off, don't brush it aside. I ignored the signs for months because I wanted to believe in the perfect marriage, but denial only made the fall harder. Second, betrayal isn't your fault. No matter what lies your partner tells, no matter how they twist the story, you didn't cause their choices. You deserve honesty, respect, and loyalty. Third, it's okay to walk away. Staying in a toxic relationship out of fear, guilt, or hope for change only drags out the pain. Sometimes love means having the courage to let go. Fourth, healing takes time. You'll have good days and terrible days. Don't rush yourself or let anyone else tell you how to grieve. Find what helps you heal, whether that's therapy, friends, or simply time alone. Finally, you're stronger than you think. The pain feels unbearable now, but with each step forward, you reclaim your life. You rediscover who you are beneath the hurt. If you're going through betrayal, know this: you're not alone. And there is a way out of the darkness.